stick with your partner or twist with a new one? That's the gamble in Casa Amor. Hey everyone, I'm Philip and this is Love Island, the Daily Graft. Well, it's Casa Amor this week and this is always my favourite part of the season. There is always drama and there's always the question of whether the Islanders are going to be true to their partner or whether they're going to sway and go with someone else. We're by a new fire pit today. Ooh, this is the Casa Amor fire pit. In today's episodes, we're going to be talking about the original Islanders and the new guys and girls who have came in. We're going to be asking, should Sally forgive Johnny? And finally, my predictions on who's going to stick and who's going to go with a new partner. Love Island USA have really gone out with their locations. And as a viewer, you're asking, how is this going to match a luxury villa in, say, Mallorca like Love Island UK, or the villa in Fiji like in Love Island USA Season 1? When the boys walked into the villa at Rio, I was like, well, wow, this is great. Great setup, love the pool area, and lots of little nooks for the islands to get up to mischief, which is always what you want to see out of Love Island. We're first introduced to the new boys, and on first impressions, I've got to be honest, I was like, meh. Except for Jalen. He definitely caught my eye. His blonde hair did feel like I was bored in quarantine, so I'm gonna dye my hair blonde. Don't worry, Jalen, we've all been there with a bad bleach job. Out of the original Islander girls, the only one who is actually single is Kirsten, and she makes that known, which I appreciate, get a girl. She obviously is like, hey, yeah, just a reminder, I'm single. We also have Moira mentioning the fact that, yeah, I'm coupled up, but as I mentioned in the last episode when I was talking about compatibility of the Islanders, I did say that I thought Moira and Calvin would be the ones who would most likely sway. And sure enough, in true Moira fashion, she's seen something new and exciting and is immediately going for it. I don't know whether it's something that I'm just picking up on or whether other viewers are seeing it as well, but with Moira, she just likes a compliment. I hate to say it, but someone gives her a modicum of attention and all of a sudden she's all in. Jalen spoke about the fact that Moira had gotten his attention on the outside, and then later in a couple of episodes, Aaron is also pursuing Moira. Moira, hearing that Jalen is interested, is suddenly all about Jalen and wants to get to know him. Then you find Aaron and he shows interest, and suddenly Moira's like, well, this is someone I really like and he's really cool. Kind of replaying the same thing she said about Calvin and also what she said about James, how she felt a good connection, she thought he seemed really cool, and truthfully, Moira is just easily swayed away. This is the first time we've seen Sally really worried about the relationship between her and Johnny. Previous episodes, I've really loved the fact that she's played it cool, but it's like all of a sudden she's realized that she has something she doesn't want to lose, and she starts to get nervous about it. She has a very matter-of-fact attitude about it at first. The girls are asking her, would you take Johnny back if you'd found out he'd been unfaithful in Casa Amor? The thing I like about Sally is the way she addresses it, that I like to think we're perfect for each other, but if he finds there is a girl that is perfect for him, then I want him to be happy, and that needs to be the journey that he goes on, and the same way for me. We then go across to Casa Amor and we're introduced to the new girls. At this point, the Islanders have been in the villa for 2 weeks. They're very interested to hear what the outside world is thinking of them and what the girls are thinking about their relationships. Specifically Connor. What I love, Cher, one of the new girls, just comes out bluntly and says it, that she feels that Connor and Mackenzie's relationship is toxic and he needs to get out of it. One of the new girls, Mercedes, I have to be honest, not a fan. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm really all about Johnny and Sally, and the fact that she's come in and said, Johnny is all mine, and I don't care that you're with Sally. If you compare Mercedes to Lauren, for instance, Lauren in her original package said that she was very interested in Johnny, but she respectfully pursued Johnny, taking him to one side, finding a little bit about him, and weighing up her options. With Mercedes, she's just kind of come in and said, Johnny, you're mine, I don't care that you're with Sally, even to the point of saying, I don't want to hear her name again. It just feels a little disrespectful, and while I know as a viewer that's the game, that's Love Island. There's a way to approach it, and I just didn't like the way Mercedes approached this relationship. Speaking of Johnny, as I said in the last episode, for me, it's Johnny and Sally's game to win. Johnny just basically shit all over that. Mercedes is in here actively pursuing Johnny, and Johnny starts with saying, I've come in here, I feel like me and Sally have something really real and really deep. 10 minutes later, he's on the sofa making out with Mercedes. Later on, he's under the bed with Mercedes and under the covers. If you watch any past season of Love Island, you know that when they go under the covers, they're not just making out, as Johnny says in the confessional the next day. He plays it as if he owes it to Sally to see whether their relationship is strong by being with other women. Is this just every adulterer's playbook? Like, okay, I'm married, but I guess I'll go and have an affair, and then that will tell me whether my marriage is strong. While I realize that Sally and Johnny haven't made it official as boyfriend and girlfriend, only a couple of days previously Johnny said he was all in with Sally. If you're all in, then you should be saying, thanks Mercedes, you're a very pretty girl, but I'm not gonna make out with you. I also want to give props to Caleb because Johnny is talking to the boys about his relationship with Sally, and Caleb says to Johnny, I think Sally might be in love with you, and I think you've made a mistake by making out with Mackenzie and getting close to her. You can see instant regret in Johnny's face, which gives me hope for Johnny and Sally's relationship. One of the things I really like about Casa Amor is that you start to see a whole new side to some of the islanders. For instance, Calvin out of the boys and Mackenzie out of the girls. Calvin was just someone who I felt was a very yawn islander, that if he went, no one would miss him. While in Casa Amor, a new side of him has come out. He's become much more outgoing, much more flirtatious, and this new energy is attracting a lot of attention from the new girls. I predicted that as soon as Moira and Calvin were away from each other, they'd forget about the other one. They've maybe mentioned each other's name 2 or 3 times. Like, oh, I'm already paired up, so I don't know whether I want to sway away from Moira. And then Moira, oh, Calvin and I have a great connection. Whatever you guys need to tell yourself, you don't have a great connection, and as I predicted, those two have been very easily swayed by the new girls and the new boys. Mackenzie has also been a real surprise to me during Casa Amor. She's been one of the girls where any given day I'm all for Team Mackenzie, and then on the next day I'm like, girl, rein it in, you need to behave yourself and stop being so crazy about Connor. During Casa Amor, she's became much more mellow, and you've really just seen a new cool side to her, the side we saw in her original package and introduction. If anything, in the Connor and Mackenzie pairing, I felt that Connor was going to be the one who was more easily swayed, where in reality, it's Mackenzie who's been easily swayed. In the first day of Casa Amor, Connor was very flirtatious with a few of the girls. I honestly thought he was going to go with Laurel. After a couple of days in there, he quickly realized, Mackenzie's the girl for me, I just want to get back to her, and he announces that he's going to go back into the villa single. On the other side with Mackenzie, she is building a really strong relationship with Jalen, one that I don't think anyone saw coming. Jalen and Mackenzie had a conversation, and Jalen admitted, you weren't someone I was interested in, but they have a spark, and Mackenzie is much more at ease with this relationship. With the announcement of the stick or twist recoupling, we see the islanders starting to think about who they want to couple up with. This episode airs tomorrow night, and I want to make my predictions to see who's going to stay with their original partner and who's going to recouple with one of the new guys or girls. First off, my still favourite couple, Johnny and Sally. There's no question in my eyes that Johnny is going to come back and want to recouple with Sally, and Sally is going to pick Johnny. I worried about Sally's investment in the relationship versus Johnny's when Johnny was misbehaving with Mercedes. On the final day of Casa, Johnny does say he regrets his actions with Mercedes and wished that he'd respected his relationship with Sally more. He has realized that what he has with Sally is more important. The question is, once Sally finds out what Johnny has done, is she going to forgive him? Should she forgive him? Look, if this had happened in the outside world, I would be saying to Sally, kick him to the curb, he has disrespected you, you can do better. However, because the very nature of Love Island is to challenge relationships, explore what options are available to you, get to know other women, get to know other men, I'm gonna give Johnny a pass. Only because I think he's realized his mistakes. They have only been together for 2 weeks, and in the real world, you'd likely be dating a couple of people in the early days of a relationship. Johnny has said he's going to be absolutely transparent about what he did in Casa Amor. If that's the case, then I really believe this is a couple that's going to be very strong and will continue in the outside world. Moira and Calvin. As I predicted, these two are going to recouple, no question. Moira is going to recouple with Aaron, and Calvin will recouple with Cher. I honestly think it's for the best. Calvin has come out of his shell in Casa Amor, as I mentioned. I think the relationship he's developing with Cher is one that has potential to go far. Kirsten and Carrington. I really feel for Kirsten. As I've said before, I think Kirsten is a lovely girl. She wants to see the best in people, and I think she really believes in love. In the last episode, she talks about how she's going to make the grand gesture of being single, so when Carrington comes back in, he'll see that she's all in with him. If that's the case in the recoupling, this is going to be one awkward situation. There's just no way in hell that Carrington is going to come back single. At the moment, he is deciding between Mercedes and Laurel. In my opinion, he'd be better suited to Laurel. She just seems like a nicer girl. Maybe Carrington and Mercedes are a good couple. Carrington has spoke about how he's only had 2 girlfriends and he thinks he's a girlfriend guy. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Carrington, you're not a girlfriend guy. As soon as you come out of this villa and realize that you're gonna get a lot of female attention, you're gonna be having sex left and right. Again, none of the actions that Carrington has done so far tells me that he's a relationship guy. In my eyes, he's emotionally immature. He doesn't really know what he wants from a relationship, and that's totally fine. This should be a time when you're exploring and getting to know what you want out of a relationship. My first serious relationship was with my husband, and I was 30 years old. I used my 20s to figure out what I wanted, and with that I became a stronger person. Carrington needs to realize he's not a girlfriend guy and just use his time to figure out what he wants and honestly just get to know girls. If that is his Love Island journey, that's a good journey for him. Justine and Caleb, this one for me is the hardest one to call. They've both had a little flirtation in the villa in Casa Amor. Justine has been getting to know a couple of the guys and Caleb has been getting to know a couple of the girls. But both have expressed their willingness to work on the relationship they're already in. Justine had a really emotional moment in the confessional. She started crying because she just wanted someone to pick her for once, and with that, she would feel validated. Listen, Justine, you don't need validation. You're amazing. Please realize that. Justine is one of my favorites. I really hope that Justine and Caleb are going to pick each other, and that's going to be my prediction, only because I have hopes for their relationship developing even further throughout this Love Island journey. Finally, troubled Irish law firm, Connor and Mackenzie. This is not how I thought Casa Amor was going to turn out. Connor has expressed how he wants to go back into the villa single, whereas Mackenzie, I honestly think she's going to pick Jalen. We've seen throughout the 3 episodes of Casa Amor that Mackenzie is a new person. She's, in my opinion, a lot more likable and a lot more at ease. She's also doubting the relationship that she has with Connor. For such a new relationship only 2 weeks in, they've had a lot of challenges. This many challenges this early on, as I've said, it's not a relationship that's going to work on the outside world. This would be a very bold move for Mackenzie if she picks Jalen, but honestly one that's for the best for both Connor and Mackenzie. Whatever happens on the next episode, there's going to be fireworks, and I cannot wait. Make sure to join me back here for all of the fallout from Casa Amor. You can catch me on Instagram and YouTube. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.